Kunaye. And a very good morning to you. Welcome to the number one breakfast show. This is K24 this morning. We're looking at the big stories that have made headlines in your papers, but also what has been happening over the weekend, and bring some analysis and perspective to the big stories of the day right here on the show. My name is Jeff Mote. Karibu sana. If you're just joining us, don't forget you can get yourself a copy of your People Daily. It is only 10 shillings. And right now, the way it's raining, you really don't want to be the person who'll have to go out, look for a vendor in the rain, get your paper. They can get it from the luxury of your phone. And it's brought to you by the People Daily and Safaricom. The number that you need is star 550 star 4 hash. Once again, the number is star 550 star 4 hash. Dial that number and get yourself a copy of your People Daily straight to your phone. And you don't need any data for that. You don't even need a mobile app for that. Just a number, like I told you, star 550 star 4 hash. Let's look at the front page of the People Daily right there. And it's all about the former PM Raila Odinga weighing in on matters Western politics and also revenue allocation sharing on the Senate. But on the front page of the PD, Raila moves to reclaim Western, they say. Opposition leader seeks to chart a new path in a region that has been loyal to ODM. Night meetings with Fort Kenya officials and local governors crown busy weekend for Orange Party boss. So back to political scheming on that side of the country, trying to make sure he galvanizes his base as there as well. And you can find that story in your copy of your People Daily therein. Also in the PD, Ruto lashes out at CSs over quote-unquote insults. After a weekend of high-octane exchanges between Senator Murkomen and CS Tobiko, DP tells ministers to either serve Kenyans or resign and join politics. They can't do both. That's a question that has been put, of course, to them quite a number of times before. And you can find that story in your copy of your PD. Also in the PD, glory moment awaits deputy governors. They may be unknown on the national podium, but EACC boss wants regional assistants to take over from besieged bosses. As you can see there, a couple of governors who are persons of interest in different graft cases. Governor Muthomi of Tharaka Nithi, Governor Obado, Migori, Governor Ojamong of Busia as well on that one. And of course, if they have to step aside, then their respective deputies take over. And as the PD puts it, this could be the glory moment of their deputies. That story can be found on page 4 of your PD therein. Also in your PD, governors CS clash over COVID donations. And as they talk about he said, she said on that one, we look at the cases as far as the country is concerned, now standing at 35,103 cases right across the country. This as of yesterday. And that story can be found in your copy of your People Daily. And as we look at matters politics and health on one side, the economy also really sensitive at this particular point, and hard-pressed as well. And on the front page of your PD, right at the bottom, race against time to avert looming fuel shortage. This is a story that you can get on page 16 therein of your copy of your People Daily, and get all the information that you need in there. We move it along to the front page of the Daily Nation now. Still Raila on the front page. Raila takes lion's share of new votes. Strongholds or have largest block of potential new voters right there. They're talking about the advantage that he might have of the 9.3 million potential new voters who could influence the outcome of the next presidential election. Nyanza, Western and Coast regions, as well as Turkana, which have overwhelmingly voted for the ODM leader in the past, collectively account for a third of these particular votes. So probably 2 years away from the next election, but already, as you can see, people doing the political arithmetic and seeing where they stand even as they move forward. And that's a story that you can get in your copy of your Daily Nation. Also on the front page of the Daily Nation, COVID, why scientists are baffled by Africa. It's been a question that has been asked over and over again. What really is going on as far as how the pandemic has affected the African continent health-wise, that is. And that story can be found on page 4. Different explanations have been given to it, but none really ticking all the boxes. And you can find that story in your copy of your Daily Nation today therein. Also, over the weekend, there was a bid for presidency. Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua announces his decision to run for president in 2022 at his logistics center in Mlolongo, Machakos County yesterday. So he had been talking about it for quite a while, and over the weekend making it official that was what he was going to do. And you can find that story in your Daily Nation on page 5 therein. As look at the front page of the Standard now, they're talking about reggae, and they say the reggae is back. Business as usual. After months of subdued political activity due to coronavirus, leaders across the spectrum return to the front line with public rallies and private meetings. As you can see right there on the front page of your Standard, former PM and ODM leader Raila Odinga addressing party MPs and MCAs in Kakamega at Governor Wycliffe Oparanya's home in Butere. And right at the bottom of that, Deputy President William Ruto addresses Wananchi outside Athi River Anglican Church yesterday. So the political formation's been made, and of course, just a hint of what it could look like as campaigning does start off in various areas, trying to just galvanize the base, like we said earlier. And you can find that story, of course, in your copy of your Standard therein. Also, page 11, curious case of the COVID numbers, and very many people trying to understand really what is going on there. COVID-19 cases fall below 100 for the first time in months. As of yesterday, the Ministry of Health reported 83 new coronavirus cases. And the question really very many Kenyans are asking, what has caused this? Is it the fact that there are less infections, or do you have less testing kits and reagents to test sufficiently? That story is on page 11 of your Standard. You can get all the details there. And even as you look at that, the bigger question, to open schools or not, Uhuru's new challenge. President hosts a high-level meeting to explore options for reopening schools as cases of coronavirus dip and parents demand clarity on the learning calendar. There's been a lot of talk on whether to open or not, having the academic calendar resume in 2021 or not. And that story can be found in your copy of your Standard on page 3 therein. Finally, from page of the Star right now, KEMSA probe, EACC targets 50 companies. Anti-Corruption Commission also going after politicians. This is the front page of your Star this morning. As you can see right there, ex-Karuchuonyo MP Reggae is not a signatory of Duke Limited. So the politicians being brought into this particular issue, even as you look at who will be held culpable for this. And as the president also awaits the details of the companies and the directors behind them who got these particular tenders. That story can be found on page 2 of your Star therein. Mutua calling for fresh start as Tenex polls says he's the one who's going to fight graft. This, of course, after throwing his hat in the ring for the presidency in 2022. You can find that story in your copy of your Star therein and get all the details inside there. And don't forget, even as you do our newspaper review, the PD is really the paper that keeps on giving on this one, because you can walk away with airtime, 250 shillings worth of airtime, and all you need to do is download your copy of your People Daily to your phone. The number that you need to download your copy is *550*4#. You don't need an app on your phone for that. You don't need data on your phone, just 10 shillings. So once again, download your copy of your e-paper of the PD by dialing the number *550*4#. Once you do that, take the screenshot of that paper, send it to me on the number on our WhatsApp number at the bottom of your screen. And once you do that, we will send you airtime, all courtesy of Safaricom. So once again, dial the number *550*4#. Download your copy of your paper, the PD that is. Take that screenshot, send it to the WhatsApp number at the bottom of your screen, and we send you airtime. 250 shillings to be exact, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. In studio, of course, my analysts ready to jump into the big stories of the day and also look at what this might mean politically and otherwise for the week moving forward. Welcome. This is your newspaper review. Okay, welcome back. Right before I get to my panelists in studio, let's set the stage for really what happened over the weekend and what that might mean moving forward. Now, ODM leader Raila Odinga has hinted at the backing of the Irungu Kangata-led formula of 1 man, 1 shilling revenue allocation, despite receiving backlash over the same from leaders of marginalized counties who say they stand to lose. Odinga further lashed out as senators opposed to the new formula, despite the fact that their counties stand to gain. Giverson Minor reports on the ongoing revenue stalemate that threatens to bring operations in counties to an absolute halt.
As the Senate gears to resume sittings on Tuesday next week and perhaps resolve the current revenue sharing stalemate, ODM leader Raila Odinga, while in Butere, Kakamega County, suggested to back the Irungu Kangata 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling formula, attacking Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala for voting against it.
ukiona kama kuna senator watu wake wanapata pesa na nakataa, sio ati anapenda wale wengine zaidi. Kuna nuksi, kuna swali. Ujiulize, hii kitu gani? Kuna swali. Si kuna swali? Wewe nataka jibu. Na hiyo jibu itatoka kwao, sio kwangu.
19 counties would lose huge sums of money in the Kenyatta-led formula, including Kakamega's neighboring Vihiga County, with Malala swearing to stick to his stand to ensure no county stands to lose money.
Hata mkiua Cleophas Malala leo, bora nikufe kama nimeacha watoto wa Vihiga wanasoma, watoto wa Kakamega wanaenda kwa hospitali, mabarabara zinaundwa, then I am ready to die for that cause. So mimi sitatishwa na kitu yoyote. Nimesema on Tuesday kura yangu ni ile. I will not vote for a formula that is going to take away money from disadvantaged counties like Vihiga, Nyamira, Mandera, Turkana, Tana River. I will stand for the country and not my personal county. Yo msimamo ni mbaya kweli?
The Senate resumes normal sittings on Tuesday after a month-long recess that was occasionally interrupted by a series of special sittings in an attempt to resolve the impasse of the formula. On matters BBI, Raila Odinga, while garnering for its support, promised that the document would resolve many historical injustices, adding that living standards of the ordinary Kenyans would be lifted.
Ripoti ikitoka, sisi tutaenda uwanjani, tupikanie mambo ya BBI. Na mambo mengine ambayo chama italenga.
BBI sio tu constitutional amendment. BBI ni kuangalia mambo mengi zaidi. Hawa Waluhya wanaishi namna gani? Haya yote tunataka kuangalia katika hii BBI. Kwa sababu ile report ambayo tutapata itakuwa sio report tu ya kusema tunaenda kwa mambo ya referendum. Kutakuwa kuna matumizi mengine ambayo nasema sheria hii ni mbaya, ibadilishwe. Hii hakuna sheria itengenezwe. Hayo yote itapelekwa kwa bunge, ili bunge iweze kutengeneza hayo kwa muda ambao watapewa.
Council of Governors Chairperson Wycliffe Oparanya hinted that he was eyeing for a national political position after completing his second term as Kakamega governor.
Mimi mambo ya county na wachana nayo. Wengine waendeshe mambo ya county. Mimi nataka sasa kwenda wapi? Kule juu. Sasa kule juu mwenyewe utaangalia nafasi ambayo mimi nitaingilia hapo.
As 2022 politics take shape, lately political parties and politicians have camped in Western Kenya to persuade voters as the region is perceived as a politically neutral ground. Give us minor for...
And of course, as you can see, that's going to have different political impacts and ramifications of those statements and meetings, even as we move forward. Let me introduce my panel as we get into this particular discussion. In studio, Vivienne Taa. She's a youth policy analyst as well. Good morning, Vivienne.
Good morning, Jeff.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Asante sana. Also joining the conversation via Skype, we have Justice Maina. He's a governance expert as well. Good morning, Mr. Maina.
Good morning, Jeff.
Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show. Let's start off from what we've just seen right there from the former PM and the chair of the Council of Governors right there talking about how they're going to move forward. Vivienne, are we putting the cart before the horse? Because right now you're talking about how very soon you're going to hit the road with BBI and settle all of these issues that we have, but you don't need the BBI because it talks about corruption there. Yet there's corruption happening right here, right now. Deal with it as you can see it before you tell us about this BBI issue. These politicians seem not sincere.
But that's exactly what the ODM party through party leader Raila Odinga is doing. We're dealing with corruption within our ranks. You know, the party has met MCAs from Migori County and have agreed on a way forward in regard to Governor Obado and the charges he's facing in court in regard to corruption. Remember, this is not the only court case the governor is facing. He also has a pending murder case. And I mean, for the party ODM, service delivery to the people is very key. And if you've been barred from office, it basically means you cannot run the day-to-day things that you're supposed to run in office to ensure that the residents of Migori County are getting service. And I know a lot of questions have been asked around why Governor Obado, you know, why no other governor? But it's very clear. I mean, there's no other, so to speak, ODM governor who has been charged in court for corruption and barred from office as a result. I mean, there are other cases and there are other governors who probably have pending cases in court, but so far there has been none who's been barred from office. I think this is a key element to the entire scenario.
Right. But even as you look at that, is it about being barred from office that the ODM leadership is against, or is it graft? Because when the SG spoke, Sifuna, they said that they're 100% against graft. There wasn't any talk about barring of office. And that's why when you look at governors like Ojamong, who have been having graft cases before, and they're still silent about that one, it seems very selective as to who they're going for.
Like I said before, it's very clear. It's about graft. It's about corruption. ODM does not condone corruption. ODM stands for integrity. ODM stands for social and economic justice. So this is about graft. It's about purging graft within the ranks of the party. And other governors, like maybe Governor Sonko of Nairobi, has faced the same thing. But he's not an ODM governor. Governor Ojamong, who you've just mentioned, also has a case in court. But it's not, there's been no directive given in regard to his service of the people. And so it's not, the two are not the same. The two cases are not the same. Yes, he's facing graft charges, but the court has not given direction in regard to his case.
But okay, I'll come back to you on this, Vivienne, but as an ODM, the youth caucus, ladies caucus?
Young women's caucus, yes.
From the statement that the SG gave, there wasn't any direction as to if this one is bad, we shall take,
No, that is definitely the case. That is the precedent.
100%, against graft.
Like I said, the party is 100% against graft. And a precedent has been set.
Ojamong is in court currently because of graft.
He is in court, but the court has not given direction in regard to his case. The minute, I can assure you, the minute because this court direction in regard to Governor Obado, the minute the same thing happens to any other ODM governor, you can be sure that the actions will be the same.
Okay.
It is not selective. It is not based on, just a few people, no.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you on that. Let me get to Skype right now. We have Justice Minor on as well. I'll pose the same to you, because even as Vivienne says that they are 100% fighting graft, you don't need the BBI to fight graft. You can do it right now. We are seeing what's going on with COVID-19, the whole pandemic and what has happened. Show what you can do now before you tell us what you will do later. And that's what most Kenyans are hoping to see.
Well, I first want to almost diametrically, disagree with my sister in studio when she claims that ODM stands and philosophically fights corruption. No. The position the ODM party has taken is a political position on graft. It has got nothing to do with the, a philosophical position in terms of fight against corruption. We have seen ODM adopt governors and individuals who've been advisedly mentioned more often than not in having their hand in the till. So therefore, to make these allegations that philosophically ODM as a party fights corruption, and of course it is the famous Capitol Hill is known for Mosha Moja. It's known for sanitizing. It is almost it is known within the rank and file of party members that today, if you want to your political sins and corruption sins washed away in an instant, you only need to visit Capitol Hill. So therefore, to suggest that ODM has got a position in terms of fight against corruption is definitely misleading. You can remember how they all ganged up to save, with all the due respect, Governor Waiguru, and the MCAs had taken a position that she was impeached. But when it came to Senate, the ODM itself mobilized its members, gave instruction, bullied them to save Governor Waiguru on the very, very same allegation. So therefore, all these parties, including Jubilee, ODM, in my opinion, do not genuinely intend to fight corruption, because when you look at it critically, most of these politicians benefit from the funding from the corrupt politicians. And therefore, to me, we do not need BBI. We only need the moral and the culture of fight against corruption. Let me tell you, Chef, that a country like Great Britain do not even have a constitution as per se. They only need you only need a moral bearing to fight corruption. Corruption in itself, you don't even need to have a constitution and entrench the fight against corruption in any constitutional legal framework. Most of these European countries, as a matter of principle, as a moral aspect, just fight corruption. It is fact, it's only in the African countries where we have even bodies that are reserved particularly to fight corruption. In most of these countries, it's the ordinary police that does the work of fighting corruption, because I think corruption in itself in Kenya has become an enterprise. And 99 of these politicians in this country benefit almost entirely from corruption, and they are funded by very corrupt politicians. So ODM, Jubilee, whichever party you talk about, I think in nutshell are funded almost fully and entirely by some very dubious characters in this country. From those who deal in drugs, to those who deal in massive corruption, their monies end up funding political class of this country.
Let me bring it to studio. We're also joined by Dennis Thumbi. He's a security and governance expert as well. Good morning, Dennis.
Very well, Jeff.
Welcome to the show.
Asante sana.
As you can see, we are full steam ahead on the statements made by former PM Raila Odinga over the weekend. But what I want you to address on this one is the fact that even as we stand right now, Kenyans had actually forgotten about BBI, because at this point, there really are bigger fish to fry, bigger problems. And if you're not going to tell the next Kenyan how they're going to get a job or get their business back on track, you probably shouldn't be speaking at any podium. That's the sentiment that's being gotten.
Yes. Very good morning, viewers. Suddenly, I read the newspapers and I saw that Reggae is back. But the unfortunate thing is that anyone who would apply common sense to matters of social justice in the country would know that Kenyans are coming from a very tough economic background. They're also coming from a very tough health background. And therefore, Kenyans want to apply themselves to recover their socio-economic status. Also, if you look ahead, the journey is tough and tumultuous, because our kids are about to open school. Then we have to apply that vis-a-vis the COVID environment. But then the government has applied itself to flattening the curve through corruption. Also, the political elite have applied themselves to politics of self-preservation, and that is what BBI is. So what we want to ask our politicians is that there is no one who can dance to reggae when they are sick and hungry. In fact, reggae is the music that liberates us to overcome that environment at the end of the day. But we want the political elites to bring back their minds and their hearts into the ground where Wanjiku is sick and healthy. They've lost businesses. Their families are breaking up at the end of the day. They can't see hope because the politician is busy applying themselves to flooding the curve through COVID corruption, politics of self-preservation and all that, and fictitious war on graft. So now it is as though as Wanjiku is left to themselves. Can you imagine Wanjiku has come from the repeat elections, 2 elections. Then you want to take them through another referendum. Then you take them through another election. Surely, the political elite want to kill us in this country. And therefore, Wanjiku must rise and defend a cognitive position, knowing that the elites in this country are against our goodwill. And it is a lie to say that BBI is the genie that we have to rub for us to make a wish on prosperity. When you remember, if anybody has institutional memory on the journey towards Constitution 2010, is that there were issues that were called the agenda for issues. And those Agenda 4 issues, the promulgation of the Constitution dealt with them with a finality. Is that we got a Bill of Rights. The Constitution tells us what kind of leader we must elect. So at the end of the day, the refusal by the executive to drive constitutionalism, to give us the rights that the Constitution 2010 has for us, and for them now to withdraw those rights and put them on something called BBI, which we don't know. There's no report to date. This is a fictitious document. It's a fable, you know. We don't know what it is. There's no report to date. So what is BBI? My grandmother doesn't even know BBI. My grandmother, in where she is, what she wants is to ensure that her socio-economic rights, her civil rights, that are assured in the Constitution, are driven by the very government that is doing escapism, and they have no sensitivity on service delivery today. So that is what we want to apply ourselves to. We want to remind Mr. Raila, we are not, by the way, the last constitutional drive was driven by Wanjiku. But BBI is an elitist document by the rich and wealthy political class who are still earning salaries at the end of the day. So we want to tell Mr. Raila that we have a document that speaks for Wanjiku. That is Constitution 2010. We want to tell the president to now ensure that he makes the document become true. Constitutionalism is the journey that we want, because the Agenda 4 that we fought for very long, when they desecrated our independence constitution, because the independence constitution had all those things that we are crying now.
Right.
So I think the thing is, we must bring the political elite into the tough reality that we are in today, and we must tell them that tough reality is not BBI, that tough reality is not the untimely and vexatious work of anti-graft. Let us apply ourselves to redeeming the dignity of Wanjiku getting back their bread on their table, of Wanjiku getting to hospital and receiving medical health, and what it is that is in the Bill of Rights,
Vivienne,
Chapter 4 of the Constitution.
It almost feels like it's a bit tone deaf, the BBI conversation, because when it went silent, there aren't many regular Kenyans talking about, you know, we need this BBI on the road. Every single time we hear it,
but Jeff,
it's a political class.
It's understandable. We are in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
So,
still are.
Yes, I mean, just maybe the curve is flattening now from the numbers that we see. But how do you talk about BBI when we have a health pandemic? So it's natural that conversation around BBI toned down a bit because we were dealing with health matters. But I want to, he's talked about the BBI report being a fable and something that doesn't exist, and then contradicts himself by saying the president should make the document true. So which is which? Is the document existing, or does it not exist?
Constitution 2010. She wasn't listening to me well.
Anyway, the thing is, BBI is not just about restructuring the government. There are many other things contained in that document. And the document was actually, it exists. It was released, you know, to the public, at least the draft, right, for people to go through it. And we know there are 9 pillars around the BBI. But I just want to say that the BBI report, what has been released so far, has various elements to it. There's issues of proportional representation. There's issues of IBC reform. There's issues of entrepreneurs and MSMEs getting, you know, tax holidays. I mean, there's a lot.
But some of those things, Vivienne, we are saying they don't need the BBI. They can be instituted right now.
No, but what I'm saying is, as we talk about making sure that the common Wananchi has a job, has health care, these are some of the things that will be enhanced through the BBI report.
Okay, let's take a short break at that particular point in time. We want your feedback on this as well. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote or at K24TV. The WhatsApp number also scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And by the way, you could get yourself 250 shillings worth of airtime. All you need to do is download your copy of your People Daily. That's by dialing 550*4#. Take the screenshot of that paper, then send it to the WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen, and we send you airtime, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. So once again, dial the number *550*4#. You don't need any data, you don't need a mobile app. Download your copy of your People Daily. It's only 10 shillings. Send it to the WhatsApp number at the bottom of the screen. Then I send you airtime, all courtesy of the People Daily and Safaricom. Short break. We're back with more after that. This is the news review. Good morning.